Hello, my name is Jill Hawthorne, and I'm part of the Alumni and Family Engagement Team and Class of '87. I want to welcome you to Pitzer at Home, where we offer virtual workshops, lectures, tutorials, and more, featuring our Pitzer community. We are thrilled to bring you today's session, which is such a valuable resource. It will be recorded and available on demand at Pitzer at Home for the year. Without further delay, I would like to introduce our career coaching team, Valerie Miller, parent class of 23, and Dina Bsharat. I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you, Jill, for inviting us to come today. First, a little bit about us. We are both certified professional coactive coaches, and we are accredited by the International Coaching Federation, which is the gold standard in coaching. So you're in very good hands. And we coach teams and relationships as well. Dina and I both worked in the corporate world for many years, me, many more years than Dina. And we decided 5 years ago to change careers and become coaches. And through our one-on-one coaching with clients and our Get Unstuck workshops, we help people develop leadership behaviors and find careers that they love. And all of these things set them up for success once they move into a job and find a career that they love. We live in Dubai, and we're both living proof that diversity makes us better and that finding a fulfilling career is totally achievable, and that this is a truly global time, and we feel really blessed to be able to reach out to an audience from across the world. It's 8 p.m. in Dubai right now. So now we want to know a little bit about you. I'm trying to change the slide. Where are you from, and why are you on this call? Are you trying to find a new career? Are you a recent graduate who's looking for a job? Are you trying to develop the career that you're in? Where are you from, and where are you now, and where are you on your career journey? And if you could put that information in the Q&A area, that would be great.
Cool.
And I've
Okay,
lost
so
control of the slides. I've lost control of the slides, Dina. So maybe
do you want me to share my screen?
you know what I'll do? I will go to the PDF.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, let us know where where you are in the process. Have you just recently graduated this year, or was it a couple of years ago? We'd love to hear from you guys. And because we developed and tailored this series at the beginning of the year, even though we've been, both Val and I have come together almost 5 years ago now to develop these Get Unstuck workshops and help people with their careers. At the beginning of the year, and with everything that that started to happen, we started receiving a lot of messages from people who had either unfortunately lost their job or were actually using this as a period of opportunity to reflect on their current career paths and possibly making a change there. And of course, we have to preface anything that we're going to say today that we understand that this is a really challenging time right now, especially for the recent graduates who might feel like you've missed out not only on your graduation, but also all of the experiences that come with graduating, like finding your first job right out of college. And as coaches, this is what we actually help our clients with. We help them look at their situation from a different perspective and help them find the opportunity in adverse moments in their lives. And the purpose of this series, and starting with this one today, is really to put you guys back in control, because you might not be in control of a lot of things, and we're all feeling that for sure around the world. But the good news is, and the truth of the matter is, that you are in control of yourself. So that's what we hope to do for you today is to really empower you to take back that control and refocus your energy, and redirect your focus and energy. And so feel free, as we're going through the presentation, feel free to either leave your comments or any questions that you may have about our presentation. And at the end, we'll leave around 30 minutes to answer any questions and, have a discussion around whatever is coming up. So yeah, feel free to put in the chat box whatever you feel would be useful.
Okay, so whatever your end goal is, you'll need a strategy. Hold on, I'm having a little trouble with the slides. You'll need a strategy to get there. It takes time and effort to develop your strategy. It's like going on a road trip and not having Google Maps or any idea of where you're going to get gas, rest, sustain yourself, and why you're going where you're going. So what are we going to cover in the next 3 sessions? Because there are 2 after this. So today we're going to introduce the concept of the internal operating system, which is our creative versus reactive brain, and how they dictate our actions and how we can use them to our advantage in tackling challenges and overcoming obstacles. And second, from exploring the way we make decisions, we'll move into exploring the motivation and drive behind making those decisions. Why do we do what we do? And more specifically, we're going to be going through a step-by-step process to help you develop your why. So the why is a term that was coined by a guy named Simon Sinek that many of you may be familiar with. And it really means, why do I do what I do? Why do I get up in the morning and go to work? How will my work life benefit me and make me feel fulfilled? And so for part 2, you'll want to have your worksheet printed somewhere near you. And if you haven't printed your worksheet, that's fine. Just get a pen and a paper and all of the information will be on the slides. Next week, we're going to cover emotional intelligence, and we'll do a deep dive into the 4 aspects of it and how it can help you build building your capacity in each can help you with your career. And in week 3, we'll be sharing with you the steps that you need to take to amplify your personal brand and apply the learnings that you've made specifically to your job search or your career. We'll be going over the hidden functionalities of LinkedIn, how to write an incredible resume, and building confidence to take the first steps.
Yeah, great. So hopefully you guys can join us for all 3 weeks, or the next couple of weeks rather, since you're here now. But a lot of the tools that we'll be sharing with you are actually based on developing leadership skills, which we feel are, some of the most important skills that we all need today, but more so to even excel in your job search or your job. And we'd like to spend, just a moment to talk about what our definition of leadership is, because often we think of leadership as a rank or a privilege or, someone's position in a company. But in reality, it's actually an internal quality and something that starts from within. And that something within is what allows you to lead externally. And leadership skills will not only help you land the job that you want and develop yourself professionally, but it'll also help you manage other areas in your life and step into your job with confidence and a sense of purpose also.
So what's the difference between a good leader and a great leader? Well, we like to say that great leaders work on themselves first. They understand how to manage their emotions in challenging situations and move forward towards achieving what they've set out to achieve. And the first step is understanding what we call the internal operating system. The more you understand your internal operating system, the better that you can manage your thinking and, in turn, how productive or unproductive you are. It will help you develop one of the most important leadership behaviors, which is resilience. And resilience is not so much about bouncing back, but it's more about bouncing forward and sticking with things. So let's take a look at our internal operating system. So like a computer, it's the part of our brain that's continually running in the background, gathering, sorting, and updating information that we use consciously and unconsciously to make decisions. In this slide, event represents anything from having a conversation with someone to receiving bad news, such as getting laid off, losing a family member, or even getting a rejection letter from college. When events like this happen, our iOS, or our internal operating system, codes the event based on the meaning the event has for us. And the meaning is shaped by our experience, our biases, our judgments, and our fears. For example, losing your job could be coded by your brain to release such emotions such as humiliation, or fear, or anxiety, or shame. And the behaviors that could develop from that would be isolating yourself, which would be the opposite of what you should do when you lose a job, when networking and getting support from other people is so important. Also going to a place of self-pity or resentment, or feeling like a victim, and even accepting another job right away that might not be right for you. And these assumptions and beliefs can cause the software of our brain to paralyze us and feel powerless to do anything about our situation. So you might have noticed that in the heat of an argument, you might say things that you regret later. If you step away from the event and cool down, you're able to think clearer and make better decisions. Realizing that you're in an emotional state is the first step. And then, if you're able to control your emotions and shift your mindset, you will have a creative response. In the example of losing a job, your creative mind might have these responses. Okay, maybe I can find a job that's more satisfying. Or this could be an opportunity to reevaluate your life or spend some time with family. Now that we know what emotions can affect our ability to make decisions and think, let's talk about how two very different mindsets can affect the iOS and can either help you or hinder you in your ability and to progress and grow, not only in times of stress, but throughout your lifetime. So reactive mindsets favor safety and security over risk-taking. The emotions hijack the thinking and decision-making part of the brain. A person will respond time and again with exactly the same behavior without ever questioning it. And the reaction that a person makes is based on fear, which triggers stress-based responses, creates anxiety, and limits intellectual creativity. And so that you can see that if we were measuring the effectiveness of this mindset over time, it's a mindset that's up and down, erratic, and unsettling. And if this seems familiar to any of you, you can probably identify with the fact that this is not a comfortable mindset to be in. This is not a fun place to spend time. Creative mindsets, on the other hand, that focus on what matters to you and the future that you want, allow you to have more motivation and move with intention towards your goal. That's why it's essential for you to have a strong vision of where you're going and why. And Dina is going to help you with that in a few moments. Even when you have a setback with a creative mindset, you'll have the ability to get back up, analyze where you went wrong, and make a clear plan for moving forward. So if we want to talk about today, A perfect example of having a creative mindset would be to not adopt an apocalyptic view of the job market, but say to yourself, where are the opportunities in this new world? What do people need? And sometimes when it seems like there are no opportunities, you need to create them. You know, because there's always going to be bumps in the road in your journey. And I really don't want to belittle what's happening now, but extreme conditions and trying times can be incredible moments of growth for human beings. And I was just thinking today, with the world in the state that it is, work needs to be done. So maybe it's not the work you thought you would be doing, but it's maybe about thinking outside the box. And we know that changing your mindset is really hard. So the bottom line is, if you're able to focus on your vision for the future in a calm and emotional state, you'll think clearer and make conscious choices as opposed to reactions based on fear. And that path is a steadier one. You'll have setbacks, but it will be easier for you to get up and stay in control and grounded. So noticing what it feels like to have your emotions take over is the first step. And redirecting your thinking gets you in a practice of intentionally changing your thought process. It takes time and practice to manage your neural pathways. But the good news is that studies in neuroplasticity have proven that people can change. And certainly Dina and I would not be in the profession that we are in if we thought that people couldn't change. The more you do this exercise in times of stress, the better you'll get at shifting your mindset. And it will help you get to a more productive place quicker. And the growth and learning really only happen when you experience something and then have time to reflect back on it. So we wanted to ask you, what kind of mindset are you in right now? Are you using your reactive mind or your creative mind most of the time? What kind of events can trigger you, and how can you not only anticipate them, but reset your mind when they occur? And I'd love to hear from people if you want to put your answers in the Q&A, but I can't see the Q&A. If Brooke, you want to call out anything that people are putting in the Q&A. Because I can't see it.
See the chat box, but I don't think there's anything in there just yet. Just a message from Brandon saying thank you, Dina and Valerie. Thanks, Brandon. Emily says, reactive mindset, feeling stuck in my current career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reactive, and yeah. And also, you know, Dina and I have been in careers that we didn't feel good about. And that, yeah, can make you very emotional, because you wake up in the morning and you realize that you have to go and spend 9, 10, whatever it is, hours in a place that you don't like. So that's really hard. And that brings you into an emotional place where you can't think and you can't see the next step that you need to take. So we're going to give you a little exercise now that will allow you to get back to that place. So the first thing that we learned is, if you base your job search on fear, you'll be less effective. And now I'd like you to turn to your worksheets. And this is a worksheet that you can use whenever you are in that place of feeling panic. It's going to help you address when you're in the reactive mindset, and so that you can start becoming more self-aware of your brain patterns and how to reach a state of calm and change your thoughts to ones that will serve you. So in times of stress, what do you feel? Do you panic? Is your heart beating very fast? Do you have stomach pains? And how is it manifesting in your thoughts? Are you avoiding things? Are you procrastinating? Are you in sort of a mental spiral? Are you having negative thoughts? And maybe you've got something what we call a saboteur, somebody that's saying you're never going to get out of this job and you're never going to find a job. And maybe it's something else. So for me, when I am in the reactive mindset, I feel like my heart is beating so fast, I can almost hear it in my ears. And Dina, what about you?
Yeah, I think I always think back to, because I feel like I'm more of an introvert. So whenever I'm meeting new people, or even every interview I've ever done in my life, I just start sweating profusely. That's just how my body reacts.
Right.
But now I even over Zoom in this in within this year. So I know that now, and I can preempt it. So that's been really useful to kind of listen to how my body reacts as well.
Yeah. And so the reason that we gave you examples of what it's like for us is it's important to notice what it feels like to have your emotions take over. That's the first step. And then redirecting your thinking gets you into a place of intentionally changing your thought practice. So now we want to talk about the vision.
Yeah. And so, like Val mentioned, it's really important to have a strong vision for yourself, because a vision allows you to manage your internal operating system, and it helps you move from a reactive to a creative mindset. Think about it as your foundation, right? Foundation of yourself. And you'll need a strong foundation no matter what you choose to do in your life. So what we're going to help you do is to build that foundation is to develop a life purpose statement. Sometimes it's called a mission statement. Sometimes it's called a personal statement. They're all kind of the same thing, but we're going to be referring to it as a life purpose statement. And uncovering your unique vision or life purpose for yourself is a key to becoming a leader in your own life and succeeding at what's important to you, not necessarily what other people think you should be doing or whatever else. So as we mentioned, understanding your vision for yourself is important to helping you know why you're doing what you're doing, and it also helps keep you on track. It's also a cornerstone in your commitment to the goals that you set for yourself, and it's think about it as a long-term strategy, right? It's not just for your work life or what you want to do in your career or your job, but you could also use it for all areas of your life. The first act to developing leadership is actually envisioning the future that you want to create and own it. And the life purpose is really the reason that you get out of bed every morning, and the thing that makes jobs so fulfilling and life feel really good when you're honoring it. And when you're living in line with your life purpose, and what we like to say is when you're living on purpose, you're making a positive impact on the world around you, and it's who you're being at your best. And it's really important to build this foundation of your career on your life purpose statement, because it will inform your choices and allow you to build a career that not only pays the bills, but also gives you that sense of purpose. And doctors and scientists have even found that people with purpose in their lives are less prone to disease and live longer, just like this lovely couple here. They look like they're really enjoying life. And research also shows that understanding what motivates us dramatically increases our ability to achieve our big goals. So this is how crucial it is to understand, what our life purpose is. It's also a stepping stone that will help you in building your self-awareness and your self-management, which are actually two key areas to developing emotional intelligence, which we'll cover next week. And it's such a vital part, like I just mentioned, of what you need to be successful, that you'll want to spend a good amount of time thinking about the answers to the questions that we're going to ask you and that are in your worksheet. And since we have a limited time here together today, we really encourage you, even if you don't have all the answers ready as we go through them today, take it as homework and work on it tonight, tomorrow, the next day, and really spend as much time as you need to really craft the answers to the questions that we're going to ask you. And so let's get to developing your life purpose statement. The other thing I want to say about putting it into a statement and why that's important and why we spend so much time doing it is because once it's in a statement and once you have words to your vision and what's important to you and what you care about, it can be really easy to connect to it then, right? Especially when times get tough and your brain is gonna automatically go, or body as well, go into a reactive mindset. You're gonna want your statement there and at the top of your mind so that you can connect to it really easy and shift to a creative mindset. And so the first part of the worksheet is really looking at uncovering your values. And values define what is most important to you. And it becomes a lot easier to adopt new skills, make a change, achieve your goals when they're attached to what you care about. And as you've already learned, our values help us be in a more creative mindset again. So values are actually who we are at our core, not who we think we should be, who society tells us, has an idea of who we should be, but they're actually who we are. So that's why they're so crucial to understand what they are for you. And they represent our essence and serve like a compass, always pointing us towards what it means to be true to ourselves. And when we make choices based on our values, we make fulfilling choices. All right, so we're going to go into an exercise now, a visualization. And if you want to participate, we're going to try to slow things down just for a minute or two to really get into the visualization to help us, mind for some values for you guys. So if it's comfortable for you to do so, you can close your eyes. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can choose an item in the room to focus on. Just try not to look at the screen because you might get distracted. It sometimes helps to plant your feet on the floor and straighten your spine if you're able and comfortable to do so. And now take a few deep breaths in. As you exhale, think about exhaling all the thoughts that you're having right now, emptying your mind and focusing on your breath. Really try to get present in this moment. We want to take you back to a time in your life when life was really sweet. A moment in your life when life was particularly poignant and rewarding. If you have a moment in time, notice where you are in this moment. What are your surroundings like? What was happening here? Is there anyone else around you? Or are you by yourself? Notice the quality of the light. Notice the sights, the sounds, the smells. What is making this moment so special to you? And now take another deep breath in remembering all the details of the experience, and bring it back with you to the present moment. And when you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, you can open them. And you can write down the details of the experience in your worksheet or on the piece of paper or on your computer, wherever you're taking notes. And try to answer the questions that we have. We can move to the next slide that has the questions. What was happening? What were you doing in this experience? Who were you with? And what made it so special and rewarding for you? So we'll just give, a few moments for everyone to make some notes. You'll notice in this experience that you may have been honoring some values, or some common themes or words are coming up for you. So in the second box on the worksheet, we've provided some values for you just as examples of words that you can choose from. Or you can write down just in your own words what kind of themes and words came up for you in the experience. And we really encourage you to write down as many words as you feel you need to. It's really a brainstorming exercise as much of it as it is the experience as well. And yeah, please feel free to share the values that are coming up in the chat box. And as you do that, I'm gonna ask Val for an example of, a moment in your life when that was really special for you.
Okay. Well, I put myself off camera. I love this exercise because I love going back to a time in life when, especially with what is happening in the world, it's nice to go back to a time in life that felt good. And for me, what came up was I had organized a charity event for cancer for the company that I used to work for. And it was the night of the event, and the air was buzzing, and there were 350 people in the room, and we had just had a great auction, and people were spending a lot of money, and I knew that all of this money would be going to the Cancer League of the town that I was living in, and that it was going to be helping a lot of families, and and it just made me feel a great sense of satisfaction that the work that I had put into was going to raise money for cancer. So that was a kind of peak moment in time for me.
Yeah, I'm hearing that in that experience that there's like something about contribution that was important to you.
Yes. And
what else?
Contribution, and also community. It's like we're not on this earth living in silos. We're here to make relationships and bonds with people and give back to community. And also, honestly, like one of my values is achievement. So I really felt that I had achieved something at that moment.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so hopefully you guys have some words written down, or you've highlighted some of the examples that we gave you in the worksheet for some of the things that are coming up for you. And so now we're going to try to narrow it down in the third part of the worksheet. We're going to take a moment and think about the ones, from the list of the words that you guys have, think about the ones that really resonate with you today. Circle them or note them down, or even add something that you feel, just came up right now, or something that you feel you need to have as well. And here are some of the questions that may help you, narrow it down. And they're here on the screen. So which ones from the list honor things that you deeply believe in and are important to you right now in your life? You know, our values change as we go through life. So, you know, it may be something new that's coming up for you. And which of these values must you absolutely be honoring in your life in order to feel really whole and complete? So we'll give you guys a moment to also think about, you know, the ones that you want to highlight. And, you know, sometimes when we do this exercise, at least when I do it with my clients, you know, sometimes they say, you know, you want me now to choose, but I want all of them. And of course, you know, we all want all of the amazing values. And it doesn't mean that choosing one or the over the other means that, you know, if you choose one, the other one isn't important to you. Of course, we're complex beings, right? And we have a whole range of values that would be important to us. But it's really about, you know, what's happening right now in my life, where I am right now, who am I right now? Not yesterday and not even tomorrow, you know, but right now in this moment. And you can pick up all the other values another time, but just for now, so that we can focus on the exercise. And so hopefully now you've identified some values, and we'd like to unpack these a little further. And another quick note here, because sometimes, as you know, again, very complex, but also cognitive beings, we sometimes get stuck on finding like the right word, you know, but it's not really about the words. It's the meaning and the essence behind the words. So just as an example of that, I could have, you know, me and Val could both share a value of independence. But for me, independence might mean more of financial independence. And for Val, it might mean something like flexibility, you know, having the flexibility to be able to work from home and the independence that gives her. So it's really about that meaning. It's not about the word independence, but what it means. So that's what we're going to do now. And in the fourth box of the worksheet, we have space for you guys to include your values that you've chosen and to really unpack each of them. Another way of thinking about this is, how do you know when this value is present in your life? You know, how do you know when you're honoring your independence, for example? What does that look like in your life? How does it show up? How do you show up? And we've included an example for you, and that's actually one of my values that's really important to me right now, and it's freedom. And freedom for me means that I get to make my own rules. You know, it's got a very lighthearted feeling to it. It's about openness and space and even liberation. So that's what freedom means to me. So as you guys do that, I'm going to ask Val for another example from the values that you were mentioning before. I think it was connection, contribution, and achievement. Which one would you say is the most important to you right now?
Well, right now, connection, because we do feel really isolated. We're all in our homes, and for me, it's about like sharing the successes of the people that I love, also sharing the successes, celebrating the successes of my clients, and also helping people through challenges. And so connection is about really a way that I can enrich my life by the human experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does that show up in your life? What does it look like to honor your connection?
I think that what we're doing now, the work that we're doing now, building these workshops for people all over the world and helping them address the challenges that COVID has made for their careers and like throwing a monkey wrench into their career path.
Yeah.
It shows up in that way. And this is how I use connection to address those type of challenges.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
So hopefully by now, you guys know what some of your values are and what they actually mean to you. Let's move on to step 2 of creating your life purpose statement. And here we want you guys to think about what kind of impact you want to make and on whom. So your values here can really help you because they can guide you to the issues that you care about. And you can spend some time here to fill in these questions, which we're going to go through together now. So what is the impact that you want to make? What do you feel inspired to do? What brings you energy? And we have those questions also in a larger format, I think on the next slide. So when you think about your impact, some questions that may help because it might seem like a really big question, but maybe there's a social cause that you really feel strongly about and that you could design a career around. Or is there something that you're really passionate about and you know that you have the skills to make a difference? Is there something that maybe you want to change about the world, or perhaps within your own country, or even just your local community? And so Val was talking about, your connection value and how that kind of guided you to connecting with people through the workshops, that we're doing, and that's really, what kind of impact you want to create with that. Yeah. So we also encourage you to, put what's coming up for you guys in the chat box. One of my favorite sayings is, if it's not written down, then it's not true. So put it out into the universe. What kind of impact you want to make. The second part of this is to ask, what do you bring to the table, right? So what can you do for hours at a time without noticing that time is passing? What can you really get lost in? What's your special gift to the world? Or what comes so easily and naturally to you? What is your mantra, in other words? Yeah, and we'll give you guys, some time to think about that. I always, think, well, we can move on to the next part and then I'll say what I think. But the third part, or the third piece of this is, after you think about the impact that you want to make and what you bring to the table, it's really about, honing in on who your audience is as well. Who is benefiting? Who in the world is benefiting from your special gift? And if you're having trouble with this section, call a friend or a colleague that likes and respects you and ask them, what exactly is about me that makes me someone you want to spend time with? And, I also want to share here, for example, Val hasn't asked me what I think her special gifts are, but I think your special gifts are definitely your optimism and your positivity that really balances out my, my cynic, I'll say. But also, I feel like you're always able to offer a different perspective or a different view on a certain situation. And that can be really helpful, when you're trying to come up with creative solutions for something. So that's something that I think is a very special gift and comes so naturally to you too.
Thank you so much. You have many, many gifts too. You are the critical thinker of our partnership. So yeah.
I
Great
hope
to
so. Thank you.
compliment.
Yeah, so it's a really great exercise to actually call a friend and ask them that question. You might be surprised at what they say, or maybe you're just able to answer the questions by yourself because you know that you're just so awesome. So now that hopefully you know what your values are and what they mean to you and what the impact that you want to make on the world is, this is where we really get to work on simplifying it into one really powerful sentence. And this is the format of the sentence. So it's I, blank space, to include the thing that you do best, your superpower, what you bring to the table, so that, and then a blank space to include that impact, the thing that inspires you, or the effect of your superpower. And we've included an example there, but we've also included some examples on the next slide. And because we wanted to show you, some life purpose statements of some people that we think of as leaders, the first three, and then we've also included our own. So I just like to point out, for example, Dr. Jane Goodall's life purpose, and it is to inspire individual action by young people of all ages to help animals, other people, and to protect the world that we all share. And, when I read that statement, it just makes so much sense knowing who Dr. Jane is and how she's dedicated her life to animal and environmental activism and, all the work that she's done. And she's definitely had an impact on me, and I know Val as well, and a lot of us around the world on how we think about animals and just our planet in general. So you can see just having that life purpose statement, how powerful it can be. It really showcases who Dr. Jane is, and we'd like to share our own life purpose statements too. So mine is, I empower people to find and use their superpowers so that we can all have a more positive impact on the world.
And
What
mine
about
is,
you, Val? Yeah.
I bring hope, positivity, and different perspectives to people so that they can believe in themselves, dream of a better day, and create a more fulfilling life.
Cool.
Yeah. So what I would do is encourage you all to, a life purpose statement, when we do this with clients, takes a really long time, and it's not something you can develop in the next 5 minutes. So when this call ends, what we encourage you to do is spend 20 minutes to an hour really thinking about that and getting that statement right, because it's something that you will always be able to come back to. And it's like the North Star for people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're lost and you're challenged and you're wondering why it is that you're doing what you're doing and why is this work so hard, you are able to look back at that and say, oh yeah, well, it's because I want to make this impact, and it's because this is important to me, and I'm honoring my values of connection, for example, when I'm learning all this different software at the beginning of this year, like Zoom and all of these things I didn't know how to do, Canva and all the rest of it. And that was hard for me. And I basically always went back to, when it was tough, I went back to my life purpose.
Yeah,
So
I think it's why you're reminding yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. And it helps you kind of answer those questions, because the reality of the matter is that life is full of ups and downs. And it's just about learning to ride a smoother roller coaster of life, if you will.
Yeah.
But those ups and downs, they're coming. There's nothing that we can control about that. So it's really about putting, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, that control back into your hands, and knowing, again, why you're doing what you're doing, and how you can make choices, how you can filter through what's going on in your life.
Yes. So how does the life purpose relate to your job search or your career? And for us, it's because your job search will be much more focused than it ever would have been if you didn't have this life purpose. You can spend less time applying to jobs or organizations that you know are not a good fit for you. And you'll save time and energy that you can place back into pursuing areas that you wouldn't have pursued otherwise, and exploring lots of different opportunities. Because those opportunities, you will feel they give you energy and they bring meaning to your life. And also your personal statements and your emails and all of your communication with your network and potential employers will be more focused when you are on purpose. And confidence, believe it or not, does build by knowing that you are on the right path and you know where you're headed. And so we also wanted to ask you, what opportunities do you think that you could pursue that would help you live on your life, that would help you live in purpose? So that may not be a question that you can answer right now. If it is, please share it in the chat box. But once you have constructed your life purpose, the next step, and if we could leave you with an action step, it would be to sit down and say, okay, what opportunities are there out there that can help me live on purpose and allow me to get to a better place? So obviously it is your roadmap. It's what's going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And here's a reflection question. Something to think about when you get off this call. What areas could you explore that will align with your life purpose? And what are some key places that you may have been ignoring now, that you now understand are in line with your life purpose and seem crystal clear to you? Has anything shifted for you, or do you have any important insights when you think of your life as having a mission? So next week, we're going to sort of hop off of this subject and move on to emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is important because it's the top quality that employers are looking for today, and will not only give you the tools to help you develop better emotional intelligence, we'll be talking about how to bring forth these qualities when you're being interviewed, or how to add them to your resume and LinkedIn and get noticed by future employers or recruiters.
Cool. And that's it for our presentations and presentation, just the one, and the worksheets. And this is how you guys can get in touch with us. Hopefully you've seen that we're really passionate about what we do, and because of that, we're always trying to improve and understand what was, the most impactful part of the presentation, what you'd like to see more of, or what maybe didn't work. So please feel free to get in touch with us. Any questions that you may have also that we could help with, please feel free to get in touch either by email or even just on the website. And we'd love to hear from you. And because we love hearing from people so much, we'd like to give you guys a challenge as well, and give you guys some time to, maybe you didn't get right to the putting your life purpose into, the format of the statement or the sentence, but we really challenge you to develop it today. Take that time and share with us with this email that we have on the screen there. Share with us your life purpose statements. We'd love to know. We'd love to hear them. And I'm going to pop the email into the chat box so you guys can get easy access to it. Just copy paste it. Contact at getunstuckcareercoaching.com.
And remember,
there you go.
It's nighttime in Dubai. It's now 9 p.m. for us. So we're going to go to sleep soon. And it would really make our day if in the morning you could write, we would open our email and we'll see a few life purposes of you guys. Yeah, so I think it's time to look at some, I can't open the Q&A, but I'm going to look at the chat box because I saw a really interesting question from, let's just say Jay. How can you differentiate when the job is simply challenging at the moment, so you should persevere, versus when it's not right for you, so you should leave? So I'm going to take a stab at that, and then I would love to know your point of view, Dina. For me, it would be about, where is this job, just like what we just spoke about. Is this job going to get you to a place that you want to go? Is it a job that that may be challenging for the moment, but it's a stepping stone on your journey to where you want to be in 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? At the same time, it's important, if you're really not liking a job, it's important to have a sort of benchmark or tolerance level and be able to say to yourself, okay, in 6 months from now, if I am not there, then I will leave this job. I will look for something else. Or is it a year for you? Or how long will you tolerate a situation that doesn't feel good for you? And what is that amount of time? And make sure that when you reach that moment in time, in 6 months, whatever you have set for yourself, that you then react and take action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I'd like to say also, Jay, about your question is, what I'm getting really curious about is what is really challenging in the job. What about the job is really challenging, and maybe spending some time there to see if it's something that you're able to manage better. I know, for example, when I was in a job that I knew wasn't right for me, it was really about the boss that I had, and that I knew that he wasn't in my corner, and so that created a lot of tension. But I knew that the only thing, again, that I could control was myself. So it's tough, right? If you're talking about that kind of challenge, because I couldn't just not ignore my boss and not deal with him. I had to every day. So it was more about managing my emotions and kind of giving myself time off of that, and how I'm going to be able to move from a reactive to a creative mindset. But what makes it even more challenging, in times like these, which we've never been in a time like this before, but what makes it difficult to practice also can be when we're under stress for a really long time, then that can cause us to kind of get stuck, in the same rut. So definitely, feel for you if you're having a challenging moment or time in your work, but the good news is that it's not impossible to get out of either that mindset or, you know, manage challenges in a different way. It's not impossible, but it is hard work and it does take time and effort. You know, that's just what I'd like to say. Hopefully that was helpful.
Right. And also speak to a mentor maybe, and find a mentor within the job that you already have, and talk about the fact that, you know, the job might not feel good at the moment, and how you could possibly move to another area, or explore something different within the same company might work as well. So do we have any other questions?
I don't see any other questions.
Thank you so much, Valerie and Dina, for the detailed and helpful answer. And also reach out to us on our website or by email if you have any other questions and you're struggling, because we would be very happy to help any of you that have attended this call.
We're here to help. So
yes. And if you like this call, talk about it to your friends and your colleagues, and have them join next week's call. Great. So, Brooke, do you see anything in the Q&A that we should talk about?
No, there's nothing in the Q&A.
Okay.
So that's it for questions.
Okay, great. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for having us. And so nice that so many people showed up. Yeah, we really enjoyed this.
Yes, I would agree. And the worksheets and the steps that the process and the steps that you took us through were really easy to get into what you wanted us to, at least for me in the notes that I was taking. So thank you so much.
Great.
cool.
Okay.
I'm glad.
Thank you. And looking forward to the same time next week, emotional intelligence.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank
We are
you.
looking forward to it.
Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.